Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's topic I'm going to talk about is Dance Dance Revolution, or dancing games in general. There was this era in time that this rise or this type of video game became very, very popular. In the main media. I've pulled. This video, clip is very, very long. So what is I've cut it out and got some of the more important and sort of notable sequences and that kind of stuff out of it, and put them together into a sequence for you here. So again, I'll post it here. I'll turn on the volume because again, YouTube is very sensitive to that kind of stuff. So, definitely have a look at this and see what we used to do in the big rage era of dancing games. All right, let's begin. But yeah, this entire rise of these particular music rhythm type of games, which I'm going to probably include things like in addition to Dance Dance Revolution, but things like Drum Mania, Guitar Freaks, Beat Mania. And keyboard mania and those type of things, where other instruments and that kind of stuff are kind of getting together. And of course, this strand was very, very popular. People found it to be a great form of exercise. A lot of people started trying to add more acrobatics and trying to add more things to their dance routine. And there's definitely different levels of skill, both in terms of creativeness, how complicated, how fast, and how many steps that you can get. And it was a really big draw to the arcade, because that's one of the things that, even though things like the PlayStation is starting to come in and whatnot, people fighting games like Street Fighter, King of Fighters, and that kind of stuff, or Tekken, Dead or Alive, things like that, were all starting to come in. But at the same time, a lot of the home consoles were able to capture on those type of games, and those type of people who would normally go to the arcade to play those type of games. A new style of game had to come out, something that you actually had to go to the arcade to do. And so this big sort of trend of dancing games came out, because that's one of those things that they tried to duplicate, using some dance mats and that kind of stuff, in home consoles, but really that same feel and that same sort of playing surface and that accuracy that you had in the arcade couldn't be duplicated at home. So you still had to go to the arcade to play these dancing games and that kind of stuff. And one of the dancing games I was really, really interested in, of course, was Power Dancing, and I have such a machine right behind me here, which I can I can pull and play as well. Okay, and that just happened to be my part of my forte. Again, I'll get into a separate story of this particular machine separately. Anyway, so when I was going through archives, I was digging out various different tapes and that kind of stuff. One of the tapes I came across was this dance competition. So basically, at the arcades, one of the promo things that they did was they actually had dance competitions, where basically people who were really good at the Dance Dance Revolution would come out, and they'd show their stuff off, and then they'd give off prizes and that kind of stuff. One of the we used to have a Palladium arcade, which is basically one of these arcades where you'd buy like a card or something, and you would load money onto it, and then you could basically go and play the games on the thing. I remember some nights they would have game nights where you pay like $20 for a card, and you could play any game as many times you want, during the night, and just be an all-night game fest. Go and play any game, every game, whatever. They did that. I know also at Metrotown the mall that Palladium was in, big shopping mall. They had these very big courtyards, and inside the courtyard, they would set up the power machine, or they'd set up the Dance Revolution machine, and they'd have like a sort of an open dance competition so that everyone and the public could see. And I remember one day I skipped out of work just to go to the dance competition thing that they had. And again, it was based on score and that kind of stuff. So I always played the hardest expert level, and so I scored really well. And got a gift card for something. I can't remember that, but again, when you own your own business and you can do that kind of sort of thing, you can just say, "Yep, screw it, I'm gonna close today, and I'm gonna go and do Dance play hooky and play Dance Revolution, or go and play Power Paradise all day." You have to kind of remember that we came out of a time where um, movies like breakdancing and Flashdance and all this other kind of stuff sort of came out. So a lot of influences from the breaking and that kind of stuff were trying to be implemented into a lot of the dance routines. Because again, we are concentrating on a lot of floor and footwork. So people were trying to implement a lot of these type of moves and that kind of stuff into their dance routine, and basically try to make that part of the thing. And again, it makes it a lot more effort. And again, you got to remember these people were, the amount of effort it takes to even just memorize the sequences. Obviously, to flip the thing around so that you get the game's playing in reverse. So obviously, you face the crowd rather than facing the game, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So it's really a lot of effort to go and do this. So I'll show you in the next example. Some of the footwork that's required, and just seeing how complex it really is. Okay, so this kit, I've basically tried to line up the actual dance move track with this. Of course, it's not reversed and flipped really because of the fact that again the person's facing you, so again the thing is rotated and the steps are obviously opposite. But you can see basically how complex the moves have to be in order to still do that. And of course, you're so used to playing it forwards, all of a sudden everything flipped around again as you rotate it around so you can face the audience. But the important thing about this real quick is that the person now has implemented something new, and that is the use of a prop. Now, not all dancers and that kind of stuff, basically implement different dance moves in their routine, but the actual usage of actually trying to put a prop in that kind of stuff introduces a whole new sort of category of dance performance. And we'll get into more about that in the next example. Okay, so here we have in this doubles routine, they're trying to basically replicate a fighting wrestling type of scheme going on here. And again, with implementation of the uniqueness, they're trying to implement the prop. Of course, that's the announcer's chair that usually happens, in a lot of the WWF, at this time with the WWE, before it was renamed to WWE. They basically used this prop called the chair. Now I don't know whose idea it was or when it occurred and when was the first person who suggested that this spare chair that was just lying around during the performance, that after one person sort of used it as as the prop and thought it was a foolish idea and kind of interesting to implement the chair. This stray chair just happened to be sitting around with some of the other performances, and somewhere along the line, the other performers thought, hey, it would be kind of interesting to try to implement, this singularity chair into their routine. They've seen, obviously you can see all the other people in the audience and that kind of stuff, watching the other performers and whatnot do things. But somehow, they all, somehow got together, I guess, somehow, and thought this is an interesting idea, an interesting prop to, involve this chair in some way. So, in some the routines that the performers have done, they decided to look upon this spare chair that's basically sitting beside the console during the competition and whatnot, and they decided to pick it up and then basically make use of it in their routine, and and suddenly the chair all of a sudden being quite innate, all of a sudden becomes the prop, somebody say that, almost like a performer in itself, and basically gained its own notoriety, its own personality almost, as it were, as it somehow, it works itself into the routines. So it starts becoming sort of like almost like the inside joke, or the necessity for the dancers to kind of make use of this chair in their routine. So, strangely enough, as the evening went on and as the performances went on, the people were trying to do different ways and different things that they can do to implement this chair. And what surprisingly happens is that they at the anime convention that eventually happened at SFU, Anime Evolution. Someone else, one of these people that are organizing and that kind of stuff, also thought, what we should do? We should bring the chair into the convention as a guest. Okay, so now the personality of the chair suddenly has become basically its own celebrity, and basically playing on that joke. They went through some elaborate needs to actually bring a chair, the chair, and represent it at the convention. And you can do all these various different events as if you were to do a celebrity or whatever, to the convention. The other thing that I would like to point out is that at this time, it was still somewhat considered, shall we say, nerdy. It was sort of considered to be still like, a primarily a guy's sport, I suppose you say, because video games and that kind of stuff was still, considered to be, arcades especially a place where all the nerds and the guys go. But because of all these these Japanese games that have to do with rhythm and that kind of stuff, especially a lot of things like Keyboard Mania, a lot of these rhythm, other rhythm sort of matching dancing games and that kind of stuff, especially with the popularity of power dancing, because again that's a whole sort of line dancing type of coordinated type of dance, especially designed for women. That brought a lot of girls into the fold. And that's not to say that a lot of them don't play DVR. It's maybe just not as should I say extreme as some of the guys do. So not only are single players also trying to choreograph and trying to make a dance routine and whatnot for themselves, whether or not male or female, or whether or not they're trying to use a prop, or whether or not they're trying to coordinate and trying to pretend to be something. or just trying to make it basically a more synchronized routine, all of a sudden, the need for a doubles, um, some routines and that kind of stuff are made. Again, some of them work a lot on trying to switch and do sort of different motions, as well as trying to be more synchronized and that kind of stuff. All adds to the appeal of basically them trying to think of and making new routines, and that highly skilled amount of work and highly amount of obviously practice, and that's is needed to to get these sort of very very good good and creative work to be done with the height of this video game. So the ADR, of course, is now been ported over to many different systems, whether it's PlayStation or the Xbox, even computers and that kind of stuff. And people have been adding different ones for the computer and trying to do different things like that. So again, the influence of the game has definitely been very very widespread and very very popular amongst things. And now, of course, they've got newer versions that which work off reality, of course, like things like Just Dance and whatnot, and there's a whole bunch of assortment of different games based off of different artists, like the Michael Jackson experience and things like that. So definitely the popularity of dance games is still there, but I don't think the same sort of feel is the same anymore. It doesn't have that sort of big party atmosphere. It doesn't seem to have that same sort of you could theoretically go to like an arcade where other people and that kind of stuff and show your talents off to really theoretically complete strangers for that matter, and get some sort of satisfaction that you're that kind of an entertainer, as it were. Again, because as I said, when you're doing this much work trying to build a routine, a choreograph a routine and that kind of stuff. It's really nice to see if other people can see and appreciate the kind of work and the kind of skill it takes to to perform these things. And it's a whole sort of different especially playing field almost, as it were. Where it's the arcade can bring that kind of people together, as well as these sort of events can bring these kind of people, and of course to the public this kind of talent, whereas a lot of these home games you really basically keep it all at home, and there's really nothing much to show. Again, sure, things like Twitch and that kind of stuff can help you stream, and YouTube can help you take pictures of yourself doing various different routines, but it's somehow not the same direct feedback, shall we say, because you said when you see the excitement and the atmosphere that some of these places are, it's almost like a party. It's almost like a nightclub almost. It feels like and you just don't get that same sort of feel, not at an arcade, that you would at home, right? So I guess that's one change that probably will never get back again. Okay, so what you want to do is go down below and click like and click subscribe, and then you'll get more videos of from the golden era of anime and anime culture. Okay, so until next time, see you again.